Hey, welcome to Catalyst Chronicles. My name is Seth Dunn, and I use this video series as an opportunity to share stories from the mission field with you. And for me, there's always application in these stories. And for you, I hope there's the same. I hope it's fun, but I hope it also provides you opportunity for applying some of what I share, excuse me, into your own life. Now, if you've watched other Catalyst Chronicle videos, you'll notice I am not at my normal set. I'm actually on location in Eustis, Florida. Sandra and I have been here for a better part of a month, working with a local church, providing them with a variety of different things that we believe are being helpful to them. And so we're creating more mission stories. For today, though, what I want to do is I realize I tend to tell you stories that are maybe dramatic or high impact or pretty serious in nature. And I thought it would be fun to come to you with this video with some funny stories. Because you know what? When we go on these mission adventures, this has always been true over the years. There's always amazing things that happen that are just, yeah, sure, a lot of fun, but also funny, right? So I've got a variety of stories. We'll see how many of them I get to today in the course of this video. So let's start with this one. Let me set the stage just a little bit. The story I'm going to tell you here is from China. And one thing that I'll tell you about China in particular, I think this is probably kind of true across Asian cultures, but certainly in China, we discovered the beds are typically really hard. I mean like they're hard. Like from an American perspective, I had never seen beds that were this hard. And so I would say that it's not quite like sleeping on a sheet of plywood, but it's pretty close. So, I knew this. I mean, I had traveled to China numerous times before this story I'm about to tell you. So I was very aware that, when you go to China, you typically are on really hard beds. And I actually had, oh, you might laugh at this. You might think I wasn't very kind, but I had a team that was going to China with me. For them, this was a first time trip. For me, it wasn't. And I had two young men on this trip. When I say young men, they were in their 20s somewhere. And these were some big boys, and I don't mean they weren't overweight. They were just big. They were tall. They were strapping young men. And we walked into the hotel rooms. We had checked in, and we were getting settled in and so forth. And I watched something begin to happen, and I didn't stop it. That's where you might think I maybe was a little mean, but I knew all well we were exhausted. Right? We had just made the trip to China. We'd been traveling. It's a long journey, so we've got lots of jet lag going on, and just we're just tired. We're ready for a good rest. We check into this hotel room, and I watched one of these young men stand at the foot of the bed. And I can't example this for you because I don't have a bed behind me. Otherwise, I might try to example it. But I watched him stand at the foot of the bed, and then I watched him just lean back, lean back, and begin to fall. He's going to fall on that bed. And I knew, I knew from an American mindset, he's thinking, oh man, I'm exhausted. This is just going to be great. I'm just going to fall back on this bed, and it's just going to be great to just lay here and rest for a bit. And I watched this big, tall kid, begin to fall back. And as he goes, he hits that bed just full force, right? And boom, right on this hard bed. Oh man, I don't know if you all think that's as funny as I do, but I watched it happen, and he hit that bed and he just went, oh, I'm like, yeah, they're hard, aren't they? And oh my God, I don't know. I look back on that, and it was just such a funny scene. And I think a lot of it is, because you're in a mission environment, you're in this environment where you're there and you're serving and you're willing to sacrifice and you're willing to do what it takes, to get the job done. But I don't think this young man thought landing on a bed and slamming down on it was as funny as I thought it was. But anyway, there you go. I don't know if you think that's funny or not. Here's another one. This one happened to me. So let me set the stage for this one. In this case, I was in a third world country. We actually had started in Costa Rica, but we'd made our ways to Nicaragua. I've told you a variety of stories of trips in that region, and we were in a very jungle area. Thick jungle, very different from what I know in Colorado. Maybe some of you are in wetter climates, but in this case, we were in a definitely a tropical jungle where things are just wet, and man, we were working with the people, and it was just awesome. I mean, seriously, a different environment than I know, but it was really great. And when you do this, you get to know people, you get to interact with them, and your heart goes out just because you care about them, right? And so in this particular case, we've been working with some kids, with some children, and we really had just had a great time, working with them, loving on them. And we were towards the end of our trip, actually. And that's a little bit key because of the rest of the story. So, we're hugging them and playing with them and interacting and so forth. Well, I discovered, that we left that particular setting. We went back to where the missionaries lived. It was back in the main town, and I noticed, and a couple of people had said, that their heads were kind of itchy. And I thought, oh, interesting. Okay. So we started digging into this, so to speak, a little bit, discovering, we had gotten into some head lice. Who knows? Obviously, some of these kids, hygiene is not necessarily the easiest for them, right? And so somewhere along the lines, we had gotten into some head lice. So you may not think that's funny, but it gets funny. We went ahead. We had a day or so before we were headed home. So we got the products, the shampoos, the different things that were needed, the combs that you can comb through and see if there's, I know this is gross, but, eggs and larvae and, head lice. So we did the work as best we could in country, and we were pretty comfortable, pretty confident that, we had dealt with it, because this is not like unheard of, but this is the only time in literally decades of doing missions work and lots of mission trips, it's the only time I've ever had a team, let alone myself, get into head lice, right? So we've dealt with it, but I'm telling you what, I had hair much like I do right now. I mean, it was thick and about this length and so forth, and we were pretty sure we had dealt with it, but my head still itched, and I don't think it actually really did. But for the sake of the call, we always say, right, for the purpose of the mission. But my head, I contacted Sandra, and I was like, okay, listen, I know, I'm really pretty sure we've dealt with this, but I just want to shave my hair off. And so I had shared this with her. I said, could you please have, some hair trimmers ready, when we get home. I just want you to shave my hair off. I just want to know that it's good and clean, and then I'll grow it back. So we get home, and again, this is not like a lot of trips where I mentioned China, where we really have a lot of travel time and significant jet lag and so forth. But we get home, this is where it gets even funnier. This is, to me, the funniest part of this story. I get home, and Sandra says, okay, well, listen, I'm prepared. You had asked, to shave your head, and I'm prepared to do it. But because it was kind of last minute, I couldn't get my hands on a pair of hair shears, but I did get a hold of a pair of dog shears. I'm like, oh no. So here we are. I've just gotten home. It's late in the day. I'm like, I just want this hair off. I'm like, okay, use the dog shears. So we get home. I mean, she starts, and here we are with these dog shears, and she shaves my head, as clean as you would. It wasn't like razor clean, like, Bic clean, but it was definitely shaved with a pair of dog shears. So, when we say we do all this for the sake of the call, okay, it means all kinds of things, even things like this. So there you go. Listen, I think I'll tell you one more. I don't want these videos to get too long, but I'll tell you one more story. This one's a little bit shorter. So again, I had a mission team, and I always tried to be aware of the fact that You know, these mission trips, I mean, oftentimes we were not only was I familiar with mission trips, I often was familiar with the location itself. Sometimes we were going to places for the first time, and so then I would have been, a newbie as well. But I often was at locations that I knew, well, had been there a time or two, or maybe many times, and I'd have teams with me, that were first timers. So with that, I always tried to be aware, and just as a good leader and just to be kind, I tried to be aware of what are the things that they're facing for the first time. And I actually got to the point where I kind of enjoyed, taking people that were going for the first time, because it made it fresh and new for me, because I would get used to things. And the story I'm going to tell you now is actually a location where I'd been to many times, probably 20 sometimes. So I was very, very familiar with it. And things just become normal and routine, and you don't even notice things anymore that you would notice, say, the first time around. So we arrive in this location. We had literally just been picked up at the airport, riding in a van, a group of people, all together for a purpose and a reason. We got the missionary with us, and I'm sitting in the front, and the missionary and I are just catching up and talking and so forth. Team sitting behind me in this van, and we leave the airport, and we don't get but 3 blocks down the road, and I'm hearing all these noises in the back, people in shock and surprise and so forth. And I turned around and I said, what? And they said, is the driving always like this? And this is why it's funny to me. I stopped for a moment, and I looked out the windshield, and I'm like, well, yeah. To me, it was just normal. And I am telling you what, driving in other countries is very different typically than it is here in the US. And when I looked with fresh eyes with my team behind me, I went, oh yeah, this is not normal to you. This is not your normal experience. This is probably a first time experience in a third world country and driving, and just the chaos, in many countries, not even just third world countries, but in many countries outside the US. Stop signs, stop lights, they mean nothing. I mean, people are just driving. You can drive on the other side of the road if you need to. You can pass people, 2 and 3 deep, passing people, and just crazy, crazy stuff, right? And I had just become numb to it. It was normal to me. Anyway, I tell you what, I just turned around to the team and I said, I'm sorry, I should have warned you. I just, for me, this just seems very routine. But yeah, trust me, we're in good hands. The missionary knows what he's doing, and we're going to be fine. I put him at ease, but I also lived through, the joy of seeing fresh eyes, fresh perspective on something again. So listen, I hope this has been fun. I know this is different, maybe than other videos I've shot, but my whole idea is here, I share these stories with you. Hopefully you enjoy them. For some of you, maybe it takes you back because maybe you've been on mission trips and so forth, but maybe you also can just laugh today and take in the joy of life, because we do try to do that on mission trips as well. I don't know, maybe there's other applications. Look for applications in your own life. So thank you for watching this episode of Catalyst Chronicles. I'll see you again next time.